Audio's on.
Okay, so 4.1 reconvene to open session, call to order at 6:01. Okay, a link to the live Spanish interpretation of the Zoom meeting will be posted on both Facebook and our district website for anyone who would like to listen.
Se publicará un enlace en Facebook y en el sitio web del distrito para acceder a la interpretación en vivo en español de la reunión por Zoom para quienes desean escucharla.
4.2 report of actions taken in closed session. There were none. 4.3 attendance roll call. President Reed here. Clerk Rios. Trustee Gonzalez. Trustee Lopez Jones. Trustee Rothberg Allen. 4.4 pledge of allegiance. Four point five, district mission statement. At Calistoga, we empower students to graduate with respect, empathy, integrity, and the skills needed for success in life and work. We provide a supportive, inclusive environment where students gain essential academic knowledge, critical thinking abilities, and real-world skills. Our goal is to ensure all students feel a sense of belonging, are prepared for future opportunities, and graduate with pride, resilience, and a passion for lifelong learning. Item 5, public comment on open session items. 5.1, public business from the floor on non-agenda items.
We have one comment from Rebecca Sager regarding music education community consensus meeting.
Okay, music is always integrated in culture with all expressive behavior, speech, drama, poetry, dance, visual arts, craft, ritual. Also, the music standards also include all of that. Like it's actually part of the music standards that you respond in the context of everything. So it's there in the standards already to do all of that. There was also discussion about how this new position was going to fit into meeting some goals for LCAP 1. But music training, instrument training has been proven scientifically with very good, consistent methods to be the very best way of improving academic gains across the curriculum. But effectively, by eliminating a certified music teacher, the single subject credential, this board has eliminated half of the music education program at CES. I want to also respond to some of Stephanie's comments, which I really appreciated. She said, I appreciate the district responding to the input of families, that all music education is very important and maintaining that. And I agree, it is important. And I also agree that our students and parents have been asking for additional opportunities as well, and richer opportunities beyond just instrument, playing one instrument in band, for example. And the program that I was developing was doing exactly that, while also being culturally responsive. So I have talked to a lot of parents, and I'm really questioning at this point if the new position as outlined is actually responding to what parents want. I feel like people are talking past each other. A lot of really important scientific evidence is being left on the table. Definitions of something like fine arts really need to be interrogated because by definition, elementary school children, high school children don't engage in fine arts. That's just not the appropriate term. So I feel like what we really need, if we're going to keep a full music education and parents are really interested in maintaining that and they want more options, we really need to have a community meeting where we can come to consensus on what the best way forward is. We have not had that opportunity to have that discussion. I haven't been to every board meeting, but I haven't heard a full-fledged discussion of what our music education program, what our cultural program could be. And I would like to propose at the board in the coming year, maybe over the summer, probably not over the summer, convene so that the parents really have an opportunity to express what it is that they want and that we could come up with a consensus about what really would best serve our district and would best serve the educational goals and the cultural goals of our districts. Anyway, thank you for your time. And again, thank you for your service. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for your comment. Item 6, presentations, 6.1, 2025-26 local indicators to the dashboard.
So every year we present the local indicators to the dashboard and which are outside of, sorry. Lost my page. Give me one second. Which are outside of the LCAP in addition to what we report for the dashboard. So they end up on the dashboard. Specifically, they are related to Williams, they're related to teacher certification, they are related to our facilities, related to culture and climate, as well as parent engagement or partnership, which we are working on through our LCAP. And so similar to last year, we are reporting on our local indicators and we'll submit them to the dashboard in the coming days. In terms of the appropriately assigned teachers, access to curriculum aligned instructional materials, and safe, clean, and functional school facilities for LCFF Priority 1 for the 25-26 school year. We have 60 total FTE of certificated teachers, of which 53 are clear, 6 are out of field, and 1 is considered ineffective. This is similar to what we had last year. The ineffective is the word that we don't like. It's not really ineffective. It just means that they have a different English learner authorization than what it is that is necessary. The out of field are our 5th and 6th grade teachers who are multiple subject teachers, but teaching in a core curriculum, and we have done the authorization for them. Access to instructional materials, 100% of our students have access to our core instructional materials. And then facility conditions, all of our schools are in good, at least good standing, which is the minimum. In relationship to LCFF Priority 2, implementation of state academic standards, we are either at a 3, which is initial implementation in history, social science, 4 for full implementation for our next generation science standards and mathematics, and then 5 is full implementation sustainability around ELA and yield. Keeping in mind next year, math, we're going to be going through a pilot, which we talked about, to adopt as well, and to support the transition deeper understanding. And then in relationship to school climate, LCFF Priority 6, in terms of the California Healthy Kids Survey. One of the things that we are excited about is that we increased, and we showed that on our LCAP metrics as well, we've increased how kids feel a sense of belonging as well as safe at school. And we have not quite met our goal, but we are moving in the right direction. We also have met the local indicators for a well-rounded curriculum at the high school, giving access to our students to take multiple electives, multiple G requirements, and get prepared for both college and career. And then our work around parent engagement is a work that we're continuing to do, and I'm excited about what we want to try next year in terms of gaining more information from our families on what the best nights are, what information is that they want to learn, building upon the activities that we're already having with student voice and student presentations, so that more families can come to the So this will be uploaded to the dashboard, October 1st, and then it'll show up.
So item 7, public hearing, 7.1, public hearing protocol. As an elected governing body of the Calistoga Joint Unified School District, the Board of Trustees conducts public hearings for the purpose of maintaining open communication with parents, students, and residents of the Calistoga Community School District. Through the public hearing process, trustees seek ideas and viewpoints regarding the efficiency and quality of district-sponsored programs or any other area of the operation of the district and its schools. The trustees believe that open communication is a key element in the ongoing process of district, school, and program involvement. 7.2, resolution to dedicate public utility easement to the city of Calistoga.
All right, so at the last meeting,
We need to open it at, open the public hearing.
all right.
Thanks, Chris.
So at the last meeting, you all approved the resolution to move forward with an easement for the city to be able to work on their water line that runs underneath our football field. This is the next step in the process, the public hearing, and then later in the meeting, there'll be an action item to approve it, and then it'll go to the city council for approval, and I believe their meeting is tomorrow.
I know that we talked about it at last meeting, or maybe I had talked about it with Audra. So the idea is, should they need access to the water main line, the idea is that they very nicely peel back our turf and do their work, and then we very nicely put it back down, correct?
Exactly, and there's some specifications that are required as part of it when we put it in. So it's just basically documenting exactly what they need to do on their end to make sure that they put it back to the spec that we're.
Because there's a
requiring.
certain amount of feed that they're in charge of, and then the
And
rest of it.
a certain
we're-
compaction and a certain
Yeah.
type of material that needs to be used.
Okay.
So.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Questions or comments? Close the, at 6:12, we'll close the public hearing. Thanks, Chris. Okay, item 8, information. 8.1, board policies and administrative regulations, first reading. Is that Michael?
All right, good evening. I'll speak to Board Policy 4305. This is a policy which outlines some of the personnel policies related to management and confidential staff. And we've done a couple things. One, we just have done some basic cleanup and updating since this hasn't been to the board for some time. More significantly, we have applied the post-retirement benefit that was agreed to with CSEA to management staff. This is the post-retirement contribution to healthcare benefits premiums. We have made an update of a 7-year service requirement for management staff and a 12-year requirement for confidential staff.
And then I will speak to Board Policy 6115 and Admin Reg 6115 regarding ceremonies and observances, and specifically flags that are non-governmental. The board policy itself is not changing, but I included it in there just so that it was referenced in terms of the admin regulation. So the admin regulation is the one that we're going to be updating. So part of it already existed. And so as the conversation for flags have happened over the course of the year, the first part talks about ceremonies and the holidays that we observe. That has not changed. The commemorative exercises, that was already in existence. It did not change. Patriotic exercises stayed the same. The display of the flag stayed the same in terms of when we fly at full mast versus half mast and how it's changed. So we're not changing any of that. What has been added is, should there be a request related to a non-governmental flag? So based on our last meeting, I did some research, and we can fly non-governmental flags on the same flagpole. They just have to sit below the American flag and the state flag, and they have to be the same size or smaller. But we wanted to have a process. So this would have a consistent process for the board to follow. And so what it does is it asks for a resolution to be passed by the board in order to fly a flag that is different than the state of California or the American flag. It has to be submitted to the superintendent's office 60 days in advance of when they want it. They have to clearly write a statement of what the purpose is of the Awareness Month being recognized and how that display aligns with our district mission as well as our educational goals. They have to specifically outline where they want it to be flown, whether it's at the junior, senior high school, the district office, the elementary school, all three. The duration, so is it for 1 day? Is it for 30 days? And then they have to be able to provide the actual flag to it's then reviewed, and then I, as the superintendent or the superintendent sitting in the seat, or staff would bring a resolution to the board to say, we believe that they have met all the guidelines, and then you would have a conversation on whether. So this is the first reading, and then if there are no questions or changes that you want reflected, then we would bring it back in August, both this as well as board policy 4305 to adopt at the second reading. The second piece is that the 60 days is so that we have time to research what it is that they're asking, and it's done in enough time. So for example, if a resolution or a request came in for a pride flag in the future, it need to be submitted in enough time for us to have a resolution to the board prior to June when it was requested to the float, so that we're not flying it out.
Just a clarification question. So if we were to, let's say, approve a flag and they got, checked all the boxes and the flag was flown that year, do they then have to go through the process every year? So it's not a one and done, so it has to be repeated annually.
Right, the resolution would have to be passed on an annual basis.
Okay.
8.2 CSBA Golden Bell Award. Board of Trustees will discuss participation.
Oh, that's wrong.
Oh.
So I just wanted to share that we have never applied for a California School Boards Association Golden Bell Award. There's 20 some different opportunities to apply, and we are going to apply this year for our work related to our community schools work. So in working with Up Valley, we're going to submit an application. The 3 areas is that it needs to be have been in existence for at least 2 years. We've been in existence for 20 plus, check. 2 is it has to be difference in the community, check. 3, it needs to be replicable. And so yes, it can be replicable. And so we're excited to submit the application. Applications are due Friday at midnight. They will review them. The next step is they will take the applications that have been submitted and then move some of them forward to do a site visit, and that would happen sometime in September. And then we would find out after that if we should. So fingers crossed, but I'm excited about us actually celebrating and uplifting work.
Okay. 9 reports, and first up, 9.1 Calistoga Associated Teachers.
Well, don't have a lot to report, just a couple things. One is we had elections for our executive board positions of treasurer and president, and Marcy Solomon and I were reelected into those positions for the next 2 years. I wanted to give an update on is the rate of inflation, because I included that in my report about contract negotiations last time. And that when we last came to the table, 3.8% was the CPI, and that is now increased to 4.2%. So life is getting more expensive, and obviously that has an impact on the labor force. And that's really the only couple updates that I wanted to give to the board public.
Have a Classified School Employees Association report.
Not tonight.
9.3 Director of Facilities Maintenance and Operations.
All right, so just a few updates from last week. We did have our kickoff meeting on the 11th for the Generate project. All the introductions were made, who to contact and kind of the next steps. Right now, they're just lining up the inspectors and also the geotechnical geotechs, for some soil testing. They'd likely be mobilizing early next week. They are sending us some samples for fence slats and stuff like that we'll be picking through and picking a color for. And then TK, the punch list items that I mentioned last week are pretty much done with the exception of IT. They took care of the landscape and the hardware. that was left. There are still a few things that Larry's working out with them regarding HDMI connections and the paging system. And then the portable relocation, you guys had approved a contract last week, but we did end up getting a bid protest, which we'll be discussing later on in the agenda and the action items. And then summer school starts tomorrow, and I just want to thank Randy and Tammy for all their support getting everything ready, and I think it's going to be a successful summer. Questions?
So for the new TK buildings for the summer program that's starting tomorrow, does that mean they will not be in the new classrooms, correct?
They will not be in the new classrooms, but they'll use the restrooms that are part of the building as well as the playgrounds.
Oh, great. Okay,
So we'll open those up for them in the morning, and yeah, they'll get some use out.
awesome. Cool.
That much better.
Regarding fencing on Berry Field, have we made any progress? in that?
That is actually part of the portable relocation scope.
Okay,
Yeah, so once
Perfect,
we get that
because-
squared away, we'll,
so I see the dogs have returned their back in full
Yeah.
force. Yes.
yeah, that is part of that scope. We'll take care
Okay,
of it.
perfect. Just want to make sure it's still on the radar.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. 9.4, Director of Educational Services and Human Resources.
Okay, I'll start off with some information about the CalME conference, California Labor Management Initiative. Several of us might have things to say about that. We attended with Audra, Maureen, myself, and CSEA leadership. It's nice to be in San Diego, first of all. It's a beautiful place, but it's always a great conference. Very excited about this work, very excited about the CalME work. You know, this is work we started back in 2023, and we've had starts and stops, but I appreciate all of our perseverance. But we're very excited to partner with CSEA leadership on this work. We'll also invite CAT to participate. CAT's expressed that they do not want to participate in this work at this time, but we'll continue to have an open door for that. And I'll say that, you know, CalME is work that we very much believe in. I say personally, and I think as a group, this is the work we believe in, right? When labor and management work well together, we collaborate together on decision-making, everyone benefits. The staff benefit, the district benefits, and our students benefit. There's research on this, on all those points, including increased student performance. Students feel the climate, their district. They feel the way that builds work together around them, and it impacts just like the quality of the campus impacts our students, right? And so when we know how to work together effectively, it impacts everyone, and everyone benefits when we do it well. And I think, you know, yeah, it's important that we as adults always model what we want to see in our kids. Really important, right? Mutual respect, collaborative problem solving. Our kids need to see that we as adults can do that. It's win-win. CalME is win-win with no downside. Next steps, we'll have a CalME committee. We'll probably need a better name for ourselves. We'll meet 4 times next year. A district team, a classified team. And we'll identify areas of common interest, areas that impact our staff. And what this work is about, it's about collaborative decision making. District makes a lot of decisions, but our decision making will be better when it's informed by labor leadership, right? So in the room together, making decisions together. This is good work and something to very much look forward to. Also an update on professional development, refining our PD next year to support the initiatives we already have underway. Really trying to focus in on the things that we do, getting better at the things that Calistoga is committed to rather than adding new initiatives. There'll be an intentional focus on community relationship building and collaboration. These are things that are kind of a hallmark of the way Calistoga does business, right? Community relationship building, collaboration, but there aren't things that we should take for granted, and we'll be intentionally focusing on continuing those as part of our culture. There'll also be a renewed emphasis on professional development for our classified staff. I think looking back, you know, our focus has probably been, you know, one that's heavily focused on certificated staff in terms of professional training, but all of our staff need training. Our classified staff need to have training that's directed at them and their specific and unique needs. So in terms of equity, we really need to focus more on our classified staff, and you'll see that next year. Screen time. In the spirit of that topic, Our discussions around that will be in person rather than surveys. I'll be speaking with our certificated staff in August. I anticipate after that discussion that I'll bring a policy recommendation to the board likely in September. Summer program enrollment, I saw, after all my hemming and hawing, we're actually up like 40 students at summer school this year. Yeah. I don't know. We are down a little bit at the elementary school, but we're up significantly at the junior senior high school. At both the junior and senior high school. So the senior high school stuff is credit recovery, and those students typically will finish, a lot of those students will finish quickly. They need a little bit of work. But our middle school enrollment is up as well. So kudos to everyone involved and to Randy and his team for creating a program that's attractive to our students. And lastly, just gratitude. Gratitude for our staff. It's been a year. It always is. And, for our staff, the commitment that they have, the jobs of schools have become really big. And our staff have been so committed to supporting the physical health of our students, the mental health and well-being of our students, the academic progress of our students. So major appreciation for everything that our staff have done this year, to our management team for their hard work, their optimism. I'm proud to be part of this management team, and to our board for their ongoing support. And then lastly, optimism. So optimistic about what lies ahead. We all need a break. Summer's here, but I'm really excited about August. Let's go. Can we get going already? I'm ready. Let's start the new year. And so we'll do what we do. But I think one thing we need to make sure that we do is continue to have a focus on academic performance. We have a lot of outcomes that we look at in terms of the success of our district. And there are some things we do better than others, but academic performance needs to be at the center of our attention. And making sure that of all the things we do for our students, that they are fully prepared when they leave us to be successful in college and career. That's my report.
Questions or comments? Thank you. Great. 9.5 superintendent.
So, first, since we last met, we had 3 ceremonies: our 6th grade promotion, our 8th grade promotion, and then our senior high graduation on our beautiful field. I want to thank each one of you for coming and attending the various different promotions and graduations. I think they were all beautiful events. They all was just amazing to watch the students and listen to their speeches. I told from the 6th grade all the way through 12th grade. Our students are focused, they're reflective, they are just have a beautiful future ahead of them. And I told Monica for the senior high, I was like, I really need a copy of their speeches. And just some of the things that they said were just amazing. One of my favorite parts was kind of in which I'm going to talk about gratefulness as well, but kind of in connection with what Michael said about gratefulness, was one of our valedictorians talked about that oftentimes we forget about the little things in life that we should be grateful for. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing. He did it way better. He talked about how, they lost hot water like for a week in his home. And what he realized is, even with that hiccup, he still has so many things in his life to be grateful for, and wanted to remind his classmates that as you move forward in life to really think about. And then another one talked about, which I'm a huge Ted Lasso fan, but talked about the idea of the mind of a goldfish, and that you should not be remembered by your mistakes. You should learn from your mistakes. You should grow. You should become a bigger and better person. But to remember that mistakes don't define you. That what defines you is how you grow from them and how you learn. So it was just really, really beautiful to watch them, listen to them, to see them walk across the stage, and be excited about their next step. So thank you for. Again, for Calma, yes, we had a great time. Learned a lot about our classified leaders, which was really exciting, and their vision for their work with their team and their staff, and supporting them to grow, and for us to come together and be solutions oriented. It was really exciting to be there at the event and see multitude of different districts in various sizes, from large comprehensive districts to small elementary school districts. And the keynote, she was obviously wasn't there live, but she was live on Zoom, was the president of NEA, the National Education Association, or the larger branch of CTA. And she gave the keynote and she said things very similar to what Michael referenced in terms of us working together is really going to help elevate and raise the work and the services that we provide for our students. So I'm really excited about what the system looks like as we continue forward and dive deeper into this. On the other end, I want to give an update. I've been in communication with the chief of police regarding our SRO program, and they are looking into a way for us to do kind of a hybrid, what they can provide for us for the $40,000 that we've already allocated. So we're going to be working on an updated MOU to help make that happen. In the meantime, they are also reapplying for a new grant. And so hopefully that will bring in, but they will backfill 75% of the salary and we will only pay for the 25%. Hopefully the grant will pay for so that they have this. In relationship to that, we are working with them again on designing a active shooter drill, which we've done over various summers on a Saturday. Tomorrow, we're going to do some table reads as practice on what can happen. And then Saturday, July 11th is an all-day event here at the high school. So she's working with Randy to coordinate and make that happen. If you're interested in being here on that day, let me know. I'll get you the volunteer list. It will be Calistoga PD, Napa Sheriffs, SWAT, fire department, all sorts of EMS, all sorts of OES from Napa County, so that we can work through possibilities and practice and learn. And then the table reads are really important as well, because you think you're able to sit and think, whereas in the practice, it's really on adrenaline. You prefer to have a thought process prior to, so they really do go. So I'll be in and out of that. We talked about summer school. I'm excited to see the students show up tomorrow. I actually think that they're excited. So that's great. What I love about both the junior high as well as the elementary is it's not your traditional summer school. It really has enrichment opportunities and opportunities for our students to not just extend school, but to actually have different experiences that we aren't always able to. So that'll be exciting for them. And then I wanted to give you an update on the Dallas property. So I actually met with the city and our team today to get some clarifying questions. So we did submit our first application. We received some initial feedback. That feedback was really asking clarifying questions around our request around affordable housing and defining what we mean by affordable and the missing middle, because our ask to them is to modify what the number is. We want a higher rate. Want to go from 80% to 180, and then how many of those units. So we're clarifying that. We're waiting for a written response from the city on what they expect from us in our second our rewrite type of thing. And then we will resubmit after they give us that input. So we're hoping to get that within the next week or two. It was brought up at the last housing advisory committee, as this is a project that's coming forward, so they need to be prepared. And then I was contacted by Tim Carl of the New Currents, and he's going to be doing an article. So he was asking for clarifying questions. So it is a slow process, but we are still in the process and we're still moving forward. So I am excited about that, because I feel like today was a productive conversation with the city in terms of what they felt was missing and us getting clarification so we can provide the best application to get approval. And then just to echo what Michael talked about in terms of this is the end of my 4th year in Calistoga, and I'm still excited and amazed about the work that we do. People that we work with, the staff members, families that we serve, students that we serve. It's a very special place, and I've been fortunate to work in other districts, and I can still say this is the best place. And for all of the people that I just mentioned, for every staff member, every parent and student that we serve. We are doing really good things. And we're in a really special place. And I am very grateful for that. And I'm also very grateful for all of you, because there are districts where board members are in it as a stepping stone to go someplace else. And that's not what who you are. You guys are in it to do right by kids, to do right by our school district. And that is really, we're very fortunate to have the time and effort. So I want to
for those updates and for their report. Any questions or comments? Thank you. Okay, that brings us to 10, consent agenda. And the protocol is that actions proposed for the consent agenda are deemed routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless any member of the board, the audience, or staff requests specific items to be removed from the consent agenda for separate action. And this is, the recommended action is to approve the consent agenda as presented. Roll call vote, President Reed, aye. Clerk Rios. Trustee Gonzalez. Trustee Lopez Jones. Trustee Rothenberg Allen. 11, action items. Protocol is for action items includes the staff presentation, questions from the board, public input, deliberation by the board, and voting by the board. During public input, there will be a 3-minute time limit per person. 11.2 is memorandum of understanding with California School Employees Association regarding the reduction of the behaviorist position.
Oh, sure. Just a little bit of background on this. Several years ago, the Stewie Preschool had a need for some behaviorist services. We have a part-time behaviorist who accepted an increase in FTE to serve the preschool. That behaviorist has expressed to us desire to no longer do that work and reduce their FTE by 1.1 FTE, which we are agreeable to. So this MOU signifies that it's a mechanism to accomplish that change without a layoff or reduction in services. So it's an efficient way to do it, and it's representative actually of the partnership between the district and CSEA to amiably come to an agreement that supports the employee and the district.
Recommendation is to approve the MOU with CSEA regarding the reduction of the behaviorist position as presented. All in favor? Aye. 11.3 MOU with California State University for data sharing and direct admissions partnership.
Yeah, this is a data sharing agreement that just simply allows us to share our student data with the California State University systems, so that applications and admissions can flow from us to them, making the admission process more efficient for our students.
For 2026-27 local control accountability plan and LCFF budget over parents.
So this is the official LCAP for 26-27. I put on there that no major changes from the public hearing occurred. I did receive some last minute revisions from the County Office of Ed, which I was unable to make into the LCAP, but I'm going to tell you what they are. And then I'm going to ask that you approve it with these changes made moving forward. So the changes or the revisions are compliant in nature. They're not substantive. I need to add back in our dashboard data from 2023. I had removed that, not realizing that I needed to keep 23 in there and reference the past year. I need to recalculate the change in metrics on 3 of the metrics. I had a miscalculation. I also need to add the specific language of allowable uses for our LREPG funds. I had mentioned that we're using those funds to pay for one of our reading specialists at the elementary school. I have to now add the language that states that it is in line with allowable uses for one-on-one or small group instruction by a certificated staff member. So as long as I add all of those, again, they're compliant in nature. They're not substantive in terms of changing what the LCAP is. So I'm asking the board approve with these revisions.
And we need a roll call for this.
I don't think so.
So 11.5, adoption of the 2026-27 budget.
There have been no changes since I presented the budget to you 2 weeks ago, so staff is recommending adoption of the 26-27 budget.
Aye. Do we need 11.6, 2026-27 consolidated application?
This is our application to apply for federal funding through the state, and we apply for Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IV. We are applying for $135,880. It's about a $17,000 dollar reduction from 25-26. So we are being reduced in federal funding, most of it being Title I, but we still want to get as much as we can possibly get in 26-27.
Favor? Aye. 11.7, resolution 25-26-18, authorization to sign on behalf of the Board of Trustees.
This resolution authorizes our superintendent, director of business services, and director of educational services and human resources to sign things like contracts of employment, registrars for warrants, payroll, board minutes, all of the typical things that someone in administration would have to sign. You are authorizing us to be the signatories on these different operations.
Aye. 11.8, resolution 25-26-19, authorizing end of year transfers 2025-26.
This authorization allows myself as the Director of Business Services to make transfers between designated fund balances or unappropriated fund balances in any expenditure classification that then does come back to the board for approval or non-approval when we go through unaudited actuals.
Okay. 11.9, resolution 25-26-20, regarding the education protection account.
This is something that was passed way back in 2012. It is Proposition 30. And with that, I need to bring to the board on a yearly basis what our EPA designated revenue is, which is $143,926 for 26-27. No administrative salaries or expenditures come from those funds. It is all being spent on instruction.
Right. 11.10, resolution 25-26-21, interfund transfers resolution.
This resolution allows me to transfer funds between general fund, capital outlay, maybe cafeteria. So you're just authorizing me to go ahead and make those cash transfers.
Point 11, resolution 25-26-22, naming district representatives and authorizing participation in SAB administered programs.
This allows Dr. Pittman or myself to sign any kind of OPSC contracts with the state in relation to state facilities funds.
Uh, 11.12, resolution 25-26-23, authorizing execution of the easement deed to the city of Calistoga.
This would be approving us to go ahead and move forward with allowing the easement for the city.
Aye. 11.13, second lowest bidder on the contract for the portable relocation project requests a final decision by the board on its bid protest.
So we, the contractor, Chris Carr, who submitted the protest, it was unable to be here this evening, but he did submit an email prior to the board meeting. So I'm going to read it as his public comment as if he were able to be here. So he writes, I just had a personal issue come up that needs my attention this evening. I've read the agenda review for the board and it is not at all accurate. My bid was complete, contained all of the DBBE certifications required and clearly included the certifications for the two subs I listed for the DBBE work. I returned all of the required paperwork, which the bid docs clearly said needed to be included, but 101 Builders had none of this info in their original bid packet. So the bid that should be listed as non-responsive and rejected is that one. To state that I didn't include all of the required paperwork is completely inaccurate. So that is his statement. Your turn, Chris.
I'm Arnie Sammer from Donald Smith. Good evening. Aware of the comment, right? Well, first of all, letters of attachments, agenda. I would address them if you have questions regarding the most recent email. Respectfully disagree. It was a mistake by Car Construction on their form. They checked a certain box, on the first page of the DVB certification form, which required them to fill in the second page. They did not put any information on the second page. So there is a technical defect in their DVB certification too. Therefore, if you're going to hold the low bidder accountable for DVB technical error on DVB, then you would have to do the same thing. Our construction. And aside from that, position, to summarize our position, protest in general is that there probably was not a problem with 101 builders DVB certification, but even if there was, it was minor and waived. So, and the district has elected to waive.
Vote to approve this tonight as recommended, and what would be the next step if the contractor continues to dispute? Would they sue us?
They could do that, file an action in court to try to hold the project. So, but
Based on the recommendations from our attorney, as well as looking at the paperwork that was filed, we feel that in both contractors who submitted, there are 3 pages. One contractor filled out pages 1 and 2. The other contractor filled out pages 2 and 3. Regardless, so neither one of them were responsive in that manner. But to Mr. Sandberg's statement, what they were missing, we can waive, because in the application that they submitted, they are providing a DVBE contractor. They met the 3% guidelines. They told us who the contractor was that is certified DVBE, and they're meeting the 3% minimum. So they are meeting the requirements. It's not a financial gain for one or the other. And so the missing of the page is minor in nature and did not have an impact on who would have been awarded the contract to begin with. So we feel that we have a firm standing in able to say that it can be something that is waived, because we see in the whole application that they're meeting the requirement to have a DVB provider, contractor, and they're meeting the 3% minimum. So the flip side is, so there's 2 options. We are recommending that you approve us waiving and move forward with 101 builders who we already awarded the contract to. There's always a chance that Car Construction can come back and try to take it a step further. I don't have any control over that. The other option is if we say that 101 is non-responsive, then we need to say that all of them are non-responsive, and we need to go back out to bid. We're not going to award it to the second one because the first person didn't fill out the paperwork. If we're saying that was not met, Car Construction didn't meet it either. So therefore they would not be awarded the contract.
Yeah, no, I think I understand, but I guess my concern is that I agree, I think, with the analysis that we would be successful, but they seem like they're gearing up for litigation. That was, was it Car Construction that originally submitted the dispute and then they retained counsel, or and then they retained an attorney? Or, I mean, I saw they have Smith Dollar involved.
I believe all the communications were between Car Construction and the district until a letter was submitted on 12th by attorney.
Right.
And there were some emails back and forth between me and the attorney, and it seemed like they would appear tonight, but as we see, they aren't here. There's always a chance that something could happen, but they did not show tonight. So reading it that way.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the initial protest was that they didn't have a letter in of good faith of why they couldn't get a DVB contractor, even though they did provide a DVB contractor that met the 3%. So that sheet wasn't necessary, right? Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So there's, if we get into the weeds, there's a lot of different issues that correspondence attachment gets into. The bottom line is that If there were mistakes, they're minor and waivable. And the letter that I sent, I believe on the 17th, outlines all the law in support of waiver, and we have received nothing back from their attorney. Law to the contrary, so sound legal position. If they treat any defect as being waivable.
Can you, I know it walks through the process a little bit here, but if we were to not vote on this evening and we would want it to go back out to bid, can you kind of give a general timeline on what that would look like?
It would take us at least 6 weeks to get the bid out there to then have people come in and give us bids. We would not be able to move the portables and refurbish the playground at CES until the fall,
During the school year,
during the school,
which would lead to more construction during the
Yes.
school year at the campus.
which is not something that I want to happen.
But we also don't want to get in a legal battle.
Our recommendation from a legal perspective, and I think staff's recommendation is to reject the protest, to finalize district staff's position that protest should be rejected. We think that's reasonable decision based on the law.
And that we can move forward.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that analysis or that recommendation. I guess my concern is that, I'm a lawyer and a litigator too, and I know this law firm and, I know that people file lawsuits that don't have merit. And even though I understand that we have firm legal standing, I'd hate to deal with this frivolous lawsuit down the line, like what,
Right, so then the question would be.
right, but
when-
I
when-
also don't want to give it any air either.
Right, but so in dealing with a frivolous lawsuit has one cost to it. In overturning this and then throwing it out and moving forward has a whole other cost to it as well. So
Right.
there's a cost regardless. Our staff recommendation with support from our attorney is that for cost analysis,
Got it.
we feel confident you supporting and rejecting the protest is both the best decision as well as the best financial decision.
And to the best of our knowledge, all the i's are dotted, the t's are crossed. As far as we know, what we are approving is above board.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, in the area of bid protests, there's unfortunately not a lot of case law. There's only maybe 10 published decisions, give or take, over the last 50 years or more regarding bid protests. And this exact situation is not the subject of one of those cases. So we have to extrapolate from those other cases and do our best to evaluate what the likely outcome would be in court, in this particular situation. And our analysis is that this is just a minor issue. It did not give 101 Builders, if that was a mistake by 101 Builders, it did not give them any advantage. It didn't affect the bid price. It just wasn't material or consequential as described in the case.
If we move forward, if you approve this and we move forward with 101 Builders, they will start this week. And our goal is to be completed by July 31st. So our options are to be done by July 31st or to wait and not start until fall, which will have a major impact on education at CES, which is something that we want.
The process
well, I don't want to say too much that I don't want to tell them how to sue you, but yeah, they could try to stop the construction, but they'd have to convince the court that there are legal grounds to stop the construction by 101 builders. And we think that that would be difficult in this situation.
How much is this contract that we're talking about worth?
The 600 something thousand.
Thousand.
Is there an attorney's fees provision in the contract?
Is there a what?
Attorney's fees provision in the contract?
I believe so. Typically, public works contracts do not have attorneys' fees provisions.
I'm not gonna provide any advice. That's good. I am not the district's attorney. I want to be, yeah, I want to be clear, I'm not the district's attorney.
I mean, in terms of discussing litigation, we could do that in closed session, anticipate litigation, but
Maybe we should do that. Maybe can we go back to? No, we can't do that today. Okay. But we're wanting to start this week,
Yes,
so we'd have to have a special meeting like in the next 2 days. We could notice it.
24 hours notice.
We do that. I mean, is that what people
You
think?
can, you can either approve it, or you can say you want to table it and we could do a special session in closed session that's talking about possible litigation, which we could then have a conversation, could then have an open session. We redo this again, and then you would make a decision on whether or not you want to not take action.
My sense is that nobody really wants to make a yes or no at this moment. Is that kind of the group's feeling, or, oh, okay. Okay.
His point is that should they sue us, we have to end up in front of a judge for them to stop construction.
and if you elect to go into closed session, that would mean instead of sending the notice to proceed tomorrow to start construction, you'd be sending it the day after that special meeting. If you agree to reject it.
And can I ask for Kat's opinion on what construction is like if it were extended into the school year?
Want to ask the teacher's perspective on what
Yes.
construction would happen,
Yes,
what it would mean to.
yes.
Sure. What would construction mean for CES?
Yeah, I know.
Not prepared for this question, even though
Superintendent made a promise to you that there would be no.
Yeah.
and we did cheer for that, but
Yeah.
that's true. Construction's it's been a challenge, but I think the board has an obligation and duty to, to take things seriously when it's legal matters. And, I'm not speaking for all the teachers, but I personally liked the idea of having a closed session to take the time to really discuss and get the information that you need for this matter. That's not speaking on how teachers feel about this construction. It's just speaking on the civil duties of a school board, really. So just me sitting here observing, I've appreciated the amount of questioning, the amount of discussion, the amount of discourse that's going into this important decision. Teachers, we made it work. So there's that. We've challenged. There's challenges every year in school, and we make it work. So I don't want to say one way or another because I'm not a legal expert and I'm not a construction expert, and I haven't consulted with all my teachers. So I'm just giving a perspective of due diligence, I guess. But I also understand the time crunch, so it's a very difficult decision to make.
We've had a long and beneficial relationship with Tom Smith, and I'm comfortable taking advice. I don't get to do that sitting
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. No?
Yeses, one no. And Laura Rios.
For your explanations and advice. Okay, so 11.14, contract with XP Construction.
With the move of TK into the new building, there's 4 TK classrooms that are available. We met with the fourth grade teachers that are moving into those rooms. There's some changes that'll need to be made, but there's no way we'll be able to get those done before the start of the school year. However, Larry looked at one of the requests to modify the teaching walls to accommodate the TVs as opposed to have them rolling on the carts like they currently have. And this project is to to go through the teaching walls of 1 through 6 and remove the storage in the middle, retrofit them so that they can accept HDMI and all the power that's needed, and essentially put the TVs inside the teaching wall. I think been in the kindergarten classroom. They got the whiteboards, they move out of the way. Right now, the whole thing is storage cabinet, like storage shelves. This would be removing enough of the storage shelf to accommodate the TV. And while it is casework, they're all individually installed, so it won't be a matter of butchering those to do what we need to do, but they'd have to remove what's there, finish the back, and add the utilities that are needed. That's what this XP construction contract for $75K.
How much storage will they be losing by putting those out? They're not losing any storage. Okay.
There's some shelving square footage that they're losing. I don't remember off the top of my head because one of the teachers requested an idea of how to replace it. I want to say it was, like 2,000 square inches of space, and which is, and I want to say it's 95 inches by 43 inches, and a couple of storage cabinets that be placed right next to those cabinets would make up for it. That teacher was fine with that. They're not all used, just some of the teachers are using them, and this one solution was totally doable for the teacher, so she's on board.
Aye. 11.15, contract with STS Education.
So this is related to the front row systems that Larry's been spearheading into each classroom. We need to do 4 TK building. We need to remove and then replace the ones for the portable that's moving, because those get split in half, and that's just kind of sitting there in the middle, and we don't want to transport that in there anyway. So he would have that removed once the portables go into place. Those get put back, and then there's a modification in this music room that'll need to be done, and in the library to finally outfit those 2 rooms with the front room system. And that's what this contract is for.
All in favor?
Aye.
11.16, CES Transitional Kindergarten Final Change Order with Landmark Construction for the CES TK project.
This is not the type of change order that we want to come to you with. Usually it's got a negative in the front of it. But if you remember, going into the TK project, it was just one thing after another that the state threw at us. The deep soil mixing, other soils requirements, and we did what we could to save costs in other areas, but we just couldn't quite close that gap. So this is a deductive change order that's required to be approved by the board because it is above the contract price at 1.6% above the contract.
Favor? Aye. 11.17. Contract with CABI for development program, professional development and coaching.
So we worked with CABE this year to help us map out our dual language immersion program that we're going to start in the fall. So this is to continue our partnership with them specifically for 5 days of professional learning for our teachers and paraprofessionals. There'll be 2 days prior to school starting, and then 3 days spread throughout the year. it will consist of professional learning related to instruction as well as coaching for the teachers, and the teachers are on board. And we're excited to continue to build upon the relationship that we started this year. So we ask that you approve the contract as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
11.18 MOU with Boys and Girls Club of Calistoga.
So this is just our standard MOU that we renew every year that has us working with the Boys and Girls Club to provide our after-school care as well as summer programming for up through sixth grade. And it's exactly the same as it was last year, just the dates have changed. It's $100,000 that we contribute towards them. So I'm asking for the board to approve the MOU as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
That brings us to closing items. Do we have any board member reports tonight?
Just to touch on the 3 graduations that were at the beginning of the month, it's always wonderful to see the sheer amount of community members and families that come out to support the kids. And even when it was at the gym and there were a limited number of tickets, to have, you know, waves of people waiting outside when the kids got outside, it was just really beautiful to see, and have the graduation out on the field and see the bleachers completely full and all of the fun noises and sounds and different grad caps and listening to the speeches. And it's just such a beautiful reminder that we have really great kids, really great staff, and a really great community. So it's just it was a wonderful experience. So very proud to be part of the district.
The 12.2 board meeting.
Wait.
Oh, sorry, Andrea.
This is the last meeting of the fiscal year, the school year. And I know that next month, we're gonna be opening, there's gonna be the opening time for people who want to run for the school boards or reapply to continue. But I just wanna make an announcement that I'm not gonna be running again. After 16 years on the board, it has been a privilege for me to be here and seeing all the things that have changed in the district make me really proud. And, it was bittersweet for me to be at the high school graduation and see the children that I know since they were babies graduating from high school, and it was pretty emotional. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank the board. I want to thank the staff, the teachers, paraprofessionals, kitchen staff, and everybody for the hard work that they do in the district. And we have a very special community. So I'm looking forward to supporting people who are gonna be applying to become a board members, and I'm sure that we're gonna get a very, very special person that's gonna adapt to the team and work to make this district the best yet. So thank you.
Not sure I can imagine this board without you on it. But that's gonna be a challenge. 12.2 board meeting calendar. Our next meeting is Monday, August 10th, 6 o'clock here for open session, followed by September 14th, also 6 o'clock in this room. And tentative future agenda items include a summer program report and unaudited actuals.
Sure. Yes. Yes, what I think will happen is we'll probably have it as a conversational, informational item. And then I'd like us to actually schedule some point in the fall, a board study session related to transfer policies so that we can research what other districts do. We can have some in-depth conversation, and then that's the only topic that we're actually discussing. So if we decide we want to change policy, we have an in-depth conversation. So I'll do a brief presentation, just kind of with numbers in the fall, and then after that, we'll do a board study session.
Don't have a need to reconvene to closed session. So that brings us to 12.6 adjourned meeting. Favor?
Aye.
Turn your